first Sunday in Lent, which is really exciting, and I hope you've somehow managed to enjoy pancakes at some point this week. I certainly have. I wish it could be pancake day every Tuesday, but unfortunately it only comes around once a year. But so does Lent, and so let's try and make the most of this Lent time that we're going to share together. This year, throughout the period of Lent, I'm reading a book called Living His Story, and it's by Hannah Steele, and it was specifically written actually for this period of Lent in 2021, and it's the Archbishop of Canterbury's Lent book for the year. I'll attach a picture so you can see what it looks like. And over the next few weeks, I'm going to be reading a chapter, and I'm going to be talking about that chapter on a Sunday in this video until Easter Sunday. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be able to get through the whole chapter or just recite the whole chapter to you. I'm going to be bringing you my thoughts on the chapter and what has been displayed in that chapter and how I feel about it, and I'm going to be picking out the best bits, or what I think are the best bits. But I would encourage you to buy the book yourself. It is on Amazon if you want to, and you can join along and read it along with me, and we can have a chat about it if you like. That would be great. I'd enjoy that. So during the 6-week period of Lent, we are invited to retreat and reflect and to mirror the time that Jesus spent in the wilderness. Lent is a time that helps us prepare for the week of Holy Week, the events that are going to happen, and traditionally a time where Christians may give up something. People might give up something luxury like crisps or chocolate or meat. They may become vegetarian for Lent. But more recently, it's actually become more common for Christians to give up something in order to refocus their faith. For example, you might give up watching TV, or you might give up social media for the 6 weeks. That's something that's become more common in recent years. And I love Lent. I love the season of Lent, and for me, personally, it has seemed over the last few years, Lent is a time when God has revealed something new to me in each of those different seasons of Lent. And every year, there seems to be something that God really wants to show to me. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it is this year. So this book that I'm going to be speaking about, it focuses on evangelism. Now, evangelism may sound like a bit of a scary, big word, but essentially it's about sharing the gospel. And it kind of talks in a new, different, like a refreshing way, I guess, about what evangelism looks like in the 21st century. So this first chapter is called The Greatest Story Ever Told. When was the last time you heard a really good story? When was the last time you watched a really good film or read a really great book? My husband and I have quite different tastes in films and TV shows, so we tend to struggle to find something that both of us really want to watch. We tend to have to take it in turns and watch what each other wants to watch. I really like gripping, psychological thrillers, something that makes me think, something that has maybe got a bit of a twist at the end, detective, things like that. I would watch them all day, every day. Whereas my husband Will, he likes more easy watching type things. He likes to watch TV and not have to think quite as much, which is completely understandable. We all have different tastes, don't we? I wonder what your favourite film is. Maybe just have a think about that. Or your favourite book. Now, I can promise you, I know a story that is better than that. I can tell you about a story that is, in fact, the greatest story ever told. What's different about this story is that there's no end. It's still unfinished. There's twists and turns and compassion and miracles and friendship and love, and most importantly, living story. A story that is very much ongoing, and we are part of that story. Now, when you've read a really good book or watched a really great film, the likelihood is that you want to tell somebody about that and encourage them to watch it, or ask them, oh, have you read this book? It's great, you should read it. So why is it? A lot of us tend to want to keep the greatest story ever told to ourselves. In this 21st century world, the word evangelism can feel scary. It can feel a bit daunting to talk about your faith, to talk about the thing that's so important to you. Maybe if you're just discovering it for yourself, you might find it difficult to share that with somebody else. It might even feel a bit intrusive, because you might think, well, we're all entitled to believe what we want to believe, and that's obviously true. But if you knew the difference that Jesus has made to your life, why would you not want to share that? We are all called to be evangelists, because the act of evangelism itself is simply sharing the good news of the gospel. And we can all do that, no matter who we are. Some of us may have had bad experiences with evangelism. You may have seen somebody standing outside on the street corner in a city centre, shouting at people as to why they need to believe in Jesus. And obviously the intentions are there, but sometimes that can feel a little intrusive. It can feel like somebody is trying to force you into believing in Jesus. And quite often, I think in this modern world, it can put people off. It can feel like you're being scared into believing, and I don't think that's right. The greatest story of all time is a love story, not a story to scare people into being good. Some of us may think we're just not that great at being evangelists. You may think, oh, that's a job for other people. You may think you have to be an incredible preacher or a gifted speaker or highly educated or be able to recite all the books of the Bible in order. But that simply isn't true. You don't need to bestow any special talent to be able to share your story of Jesus. You can share the story of Jesus just by living your life. Through telling your experience of Jesus, because you are part of the greatest story ever told. It's not just something we hear, but something we live. In John 20, verse 18, it says, Mary Magdalene went to the disciples with the news, I have seen the Lord, and she told them that he had said these things to her. What a great example. Mary Magdalene wasn't a gifted preacher. She was a normal woman, a follower of Jesus, and yet in all four Gospels, along with other women, are mentioned as finding the empty tomb and of telling others about it. She was ordinary, but the events were extraordinary. She experienced something for herself, and she wanted to tell others about it. And that is the foundation of evangelism, sharing your story, sharing his story. As we look deeper into what it means to live his story over the next few weeks in the run-up to Easter, take some time to think about your encounters with Jesus. Here are a few questions that might help you. Can you think of a time when somebody has told you a story about something they've seen, about their experience of Jesus? Can you think how that made you feel? What are the main characteristics of those people who have helped you in your journey to faith? In what ways is the good news of Jesus relevant to people in your community? Because it is relevant. It's relevant to all of us today. The song I've chosen for this week is a song about telling the story of Jesus through song. My favourite line is, with every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. And the whole song speaks about how because of the relationship that we have with God, this message then becomes universal. A personal relationship with God that becomes universal. A message for all people. His story.
I love you, Lord. Oh, your mercy never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hands. From the moment that I wake up until I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. Oh, you have led me through the fire and darkest nights. You are close